I've been asked to give you a bit of an update about what's happening in our disability sector, particularly in regard to the parliamentary inquiry that's being held at the moment. For those of you that aren't aware, a few months ago, the upper house of the New South Wales Parliament announced they wanted to have an inquiry into the NDIS and particularly the implementation of the NDIS and how it's come about in New South Wales and what are the effects. Obviously, one of the major terms of reference and one of our major interests in that inquiry was the workforce issues. What's happened to you being forced transfer into the private sector, the ramifications for you on your work and your workplace and your working conditions and your working lives. We put in a rather large submission. It was some 22,000 words long. It addressed a lot of the terms of reference. Not only did it address the issues that you were concerned about in your workplaces, but it also addressed a number of policy concerns, issues about price gouging, issues about inappropriate or lack of services, and particularly from our perspective, the message that you have been telling us to advocate for you for a long time, the need for a public sector safety net in disability services. I was very pleased when we were invited 2 weeks ago to attend and give evidence to the inquiry in person. Not all submissions get to do that. The inquiry was inundated with submissions, got over 350, which may not sound a lot, but believe me, that's a lot for a parliamentary inquiry. We were among the select few that were invited to go down and give oral evidence as well. We attended on Tuesday, so 2 days ago. I have to say the session went rather well. We did concentrate particularly on the safety net aspects about the need to rebuild ADIC, and in doing so, from my observations of the other submissions and the evidence that was on that day, you are part of a very, very broad community that has grave concerns about the future for people with disabilities in this state without a public sector provider in the form of ADIC. I can tell you that there was a range from regulatory bodies like the Ombudsman, some service providers, some non-government service providers, and then a range of peak bodies such as the General Practitioners peak body, the Occupational Therapy peak body, and then obviously a lot of parents and carers themselves that are all saying the same thing. Without what we had with ADIC, the system will fail. And that's our message that we took. We still believe there is time to rebuild and restore a capacity within government public sector run disability services. So we'll hold our breath and see what the committee comes back with. Basically, the process from here is the committee will have a report. That report then goes to Parliament, and Parliament decides which parts of it to impose. Just be conscious that we are very heavily involved in this discussion and making sure your voices are heard in Macquarie Street. I want to thank all of our members, and it wasn't just members from ADIC. We had members from across our membership from all sorts of agencies that have an interface with the NDIS, either in a personal capacity or professional capacity, that gave us information for this submission. We've included it and we've advocated for it, and we are stronger for your involvement. So thank you for that. I want to thank all of them. I particularly want to thank, we took 2 delegates down to Parliament. It was an extremely stressful experience for all of us. So I want to thank Naomi Fraser, who's of ADIC. She's currently employed by what's remaining of ADIC till the 1st of November. And also Shelley Odawan from Southern Cross University. They particularly stood up and supported our submission and provided really valuable information for us to take it forward. And finally, I just want to assure all members that whilst we are involved in that space, and I think it's a really important space for us to be as a union on your behalf trying to shape public policy, I want to assure you that's not all we are doing. We have been inundated with issues coming from you through our MSC. We have had, in the first 8 months this year, we had more than 800 inquiries from former ADIC members alone about their working conditions. So that is far greater than it's ever been for any other department. So we know the industrial issues are out there. We have expanded our industrial team to work on those. We hope we're providing the right support for you in your workplaces, and if we're not, let us know. But please continue. Don't hesitate to get in touch with your union. We're here to support you. We don't want your working conditions to be eroded and snipped at and reduced over time. We're here to maintain those conditions for you because we know they're valuable for you. So if you have concerns, don't hesitate to contact us. We still have our organisers out, and hopefully they're getting to you at different points of the year. We have a large industrial team that's there to support you, and we know that's our core business, but this stuff is also assisting that, and it's also hoping that we can make a real impact on how disability services are delivered in this state in the future. Thanks.